It's been exactly a week since I first heard 72 Seasons, and while sitting there in the theater during the Metallica Global Premiere in the capital of a country at war, I couldn't stop thinking about how my perception of what I heard and saw right there might change after a couple of listens. And I'm sorry to say that it actually did quite a lot. Upon my first listen of 72 Seasons, I kind of felt that at least 4 or 5 tracks there were absolutely unnecessary. Yet already by the time I recorded the review of Metallica's new album, which by the way, if you haven't yet, definitely check out right after this video. But I realized that 72 Seasons does not actually have any unnecessary fillers, with each song, whether you personally like it or not, serving a certain purpose on this record. And this, I believe, might actually be the key to understanding how my perception of the record has changed so far and why I believe it won't be the last switch for many fans in the months to come. First of all, my choice of a favorite, or let's better say the most listened to track on 72 Seasons, which at first fell on Crown of Barbed Wire, has now been awarded to one of those songs I initially overlooked, that one possibly being the most old school sounding track on the record. Which many people even call too old school, if you know what I mean. Overall, I now find myself re-listening to the last 3 songs on the record the most. And if you think about it, there is quite a logical explanation to this. You see, 72 Seasons is a rather unique album for post-1991 Metallica. It does not really have the undisputable favorites all the fans can agree on, but rather maintains a rather steady level of musicianship all across the board. And that does not mean that you have to love it, it's just what it is. But in a way, it is divided into 4 different chapters, both musically and lyrically, which together show a struggle of light against darkness, which is of course a running theme throughout the record, showing the fight's different stages, both dark, sinister and self-reflecting, or hopeful and encouraging, ending with the final chapter of the protagonist's acceptance and confession in love to his own misery, yet at the same time realization that it does not have to control him, symbolizing light's final victory over darkness. And just to be clear, I do understand that I'm overanalyzing it way too much. Misery, she kills me. Oh, but I end this war. And so if this is correct, and it of course is because it's on the internet.
Yes, that's true.
But that means that by removing any song, which either feels overstretched or just uninspiring for some fans out of the track list, we would actually break the overall flow of this record. And at the same time, it explains why most fans cannot really agree on the best single to represent this album, or let's be honest here, why so many people have such a negative reaction to it? Because most likely because of my emotional state right now, I find myself mostly fond of the latter part of the record, although at first I didn't really think much of it, yet this might actually change in a couple of months, weeks or days, who knows? And even more, because of the fact that I actually believe that 72 Seasons is one of those records you either connect with or not, I might absolutely forget about this album, or even more, join the I hate it team in a couple of months down the road, because there would be nothing I could relate to at that point. But for now, I actually stand by my words, which I know is not what many people would like to hear when they watch a Metallica reaction and review video on YouTube, but I still think that this alternative universe follow-up to Black Album is actually the strongest record Metallica released in over 30 years. And what about you? How did your perception of 72 Seasons change since you first heard it? Please let us know in the comments. Write that down, write that down! As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and even more, thank you so much for supporting me, this show, and Ukraine through this very, very difficult time. Just know that your support means the world to me and all Ukrainian metalheads. We will prevail. Slava Ukraini!